It's such a shame. It's such a shame, Sushant, Sareen. Sajid Mir was on FBI's most wanted terrorist list. Sajid Mir had a $5 million reward on his head. He's wanted not just for 26/11 in India, he's also wanted for Denmark newspaper terror attack. So these are Pakistani terrorists who are trying to spread terror in Europe. And yet Pakistan refuses to act and China blocks sanctions. Pakistan and China are together a threat to world peace.
Yes, Gaurav, that's absolutely right. Sajid Mir is a terrorist, not just because of his involvement in 26/11 attacks. He has been found involved in terror attacks in 6 countries. That includes Australia, it includes Denmark, it includes France, a couple of other countries as well.
Yes.
And yet, if, you have the Chinese pretend that they don't have enough information or they want to delve into this matter more, they're being disingenuous. And very clearly, they've done this earlier in the case of Hafiz Saeed, then they did it in the case of Masood Azhar. And the Chinese have proved that they are actually a terror sponsoring country. They protect terrorists, they give covering fire to terrorists, they give a shield to terrorists. That is very clear in my mind. So I don't think there's any debate on that anymore. As far as Sajid Mir is concerned, look at the Pakistani track record, and Gaurav, we've spoken about it earlier. First, they said there is nobody by this name. This is a figment of India's imagination. Then they said that yes, there is this guy involved, but we don't know who he is. Then they said we know who he is, but we don't know where he is. Then they said yes, we know where he is, but he's in a grave. He's dead. He's gone. They even did a DNA test to prove that he's dead. And when the pressure did not ease, they actually, after Jesus Christ, another man was resurrected from the grave, and then he was thrown into prison, right? He was thrown into prison within, I think, a matter of about 7 days or something, and nobody knows. It is said that he was thrown into jail on terror financing charges.
Yes.
But clearly it was done to, reach out to the FATF. It was one of the conditions which the FATF had put before the Pakistanis, and they had to shuck up on this guy.
And
so
that's
that is
the
where
tragedy.
lie.
That's the tragedy that I wanted to get Kamar Chima on. That your country takes sham action only when there is an FATF grey list, the sword of FATF hanging on your head. Why not take real action? But before that, Andrew KP Leung, not once, not twice, thrice China blocked or the sanctions on Sajid Mir. And here is a man who's involved in terror in India. He's a man who's involved in terror in Denmark, in France, in Australia. Why would China do that? China did the same as our guest Sushant Sareen rightly pointed out with Masood Azhar, with Hafiz Saeed. Why is China backing Pakistan when your citizens are being killed in Pakistan by same radical Islamist terror, sir?
Well, as I said, unfortunately, in the United Nations, a lot of things have got to do about politics. For example, a typical example is the Palestinian movement, where the Palestinians were regarded as terrorists in many occasions, but then they were fighting for their own country. So I think that examples
Sir,
like
I've asked you very specific questions. You will appreciate. Andrew KP Leung, I respect you because you're very articulate on facts, and so am I. My questions are very specific. They are about Hafiz Saeed, they are about Masood Azhar, they are about Sajid Mir, people who are spreading terror in our region, in Asia, in Europe. Why would China block sanctions against these terrorists when Chinese are being killed by radical Islamist terrorists in Pakistan?
Well, I was saying that acts of terrorism, the acts themselves, need to be condemned. I mean, no country would support killing children, killing innocent people. But what
China does.
Saying, if you frame this kind of action in terms of individuals, in terms of organizations, you are entering into the realm of politics. Unfortunately, as I said, politics abound. It's about international relations of one country and another, and then all these affect the decision making, typically in the United Nations Security Council meetings.